What's up? My name's John. I'm a software engineer with about 10 years of experience. Let's ship some features. Today we are working, first of all, on a bug, issue number 11 on the GitHub project in front of us. This is the Latterly roadmap. You can go check this out. By the way, if you are a premium subscriber to Latterly, you can influence the roadmap. So you can hop on the Discord and say, hey, John, I want feature X expedited, and I'll prioritize that in the next stream. Latterly.io, here's prod. You can sign up today totally free and get a standard checklist that will help you step-by-step learn how to program and land a programming role, which is just as difficult as learning to program in and of itself. Pay what you can, as little as $1 a month. You get the advanced checklist, and then here is premium over at 30. So we're going to first of all fix this bug in the user checklist items. The current state of the bug is causing all users to share one checklist. So if I go check a checkbox, it's checked for everybody. That would be problematic. If we have additional time, I will work on the YouTube transcriber. Why do we care about transcribing YouTube videos? Because it will allow us to enable a chatbot, an LLM GPT-based chatbot, which is, we're going to start with Claude, which will be totally free. And then we can do a GPT-4 one, which is going to cost money. GPT-4 is unfortunately not free. But we're going to start with Claude because we want to prioritize the free tools. So here is the order today. I doubt we will get to 64. Let's dive in. Daddy JS, what up, what up? Thanks for being here. Cool, so we've reset hard on main code. I'm gonna npmi because there has been dependency changes in main. I work on a bunch of different computers. I'm currently on Windows. I think I have an Intel i5 chip on here. So you can see there's some lag in the computer sticking a bit. I'll be upgrading that later this year. Anyway, I was coding on my Mac earlier and shipped the blog feature. And the blog feature include remark and rehype dependencies. By the way, you can visit the blog on latterly.io now. Here we are again in prod, and notice the blog button in the upper right. So here's the first blog article. Style courtesy of Tailwind. Okay, so we've run npmi, so I have those dependencies here on my local main now. I'm going to create a feature branch for issue 11. Git checkout-b. I'm going to call this 11-fix user checklist items. Git branch just to confirm that I'm over there, but we can see that I'm over there with the green text. Matt, thanks for the follow. Lisa, hello. What are we working on today? We are bug fixing. We are fixing the user checklist. So we have this checklist. Here it is. We'll go to the standard checklist, for example, although it's also impacting the advanced checklist for premium users. So the bug with the checklist today is that if I check this thing, when I check it and uncheck it, I just impacted all users. So they are not. It's not effectively isolated by user account. So that's the bug we're fixing. I should just be checking my own checkboxes. Love the content. Thank you so much. Quick reminder, if you're on TikTok, you can go to YouTube. The link is in my bio. Okay, so where's this bug coming from, right? Here, let me open up a second terminal so that I can run the dev server and have a local host. I'm going to rename one shell dev, and I'm going to rename the second shell scratch. And I can use the Scratch shell for running scripts and GitHub, or like Git operations and so forth. Okay, localhost has been loaded. So let's go over here and hit the index file. It's going to take it a minute to load because we're using Vite with hot module loading. So that first initial load takes some time. Just store it in local storage. Yep, yeah, sure. Did you already fix the order? Yeah, order is good to go. So you can see the first thing you should do is join the Discord. I hope to see you there. And then search techniques. Before you write a single line of Turing complete programming language, before you write any HTML or any CSS, you need to know how to search. We're talking about Google and working with an LLM. And the reason for that is much of HTML and CSS, as well as much of programming, is brute memorization of special keywords. And the problem with that is that if you don't know the magic word, you can't do the thing. And so this creates a real problem for learning new programming languages. And the way you solve that is you can, in the old days, you would use Google. In the older days, you would use an old-fashioned book. You can also work. But in the new days, I can just ask Claude or GPT, and I do this all the time. I just say, hey, GPT, what is the Tailwind class name for a light gray border? And it will tell you. So techniques like that. So you should be doing that before you even get started coding. All right, cool. Localhost, here we are running. I'm going to click over to the standard checklist. Let me open up the code file. So I will Control P, checklist. This is my basic checklist, will be the standard checklist. And we're under the pages route because we are in a Next.js application, technically a Blitz.js application, working with Next. Okay? You don't want to use local storage because a user could log in on a different computer. Nailed it, Daddy. Nailed it. The user's name is actually Daddy. I'm not just saying that. Okay. So the issue is that when I check one of these, I'm impacting all users. So technically what happens when I check one of these? We're clicking the LI, we're triggering a handle item click, and we are using this update checklist item mutation. So this is technically what's going on. And this is basically where the problem is. So let's go look into this mutation. I think I can already guess what the problem is. Yeah. So here's the problem, is that we are updating the state of the checklist item instead of the user checklist item. So checklist item is an abstract class that really, frankly, it should not have a checked value. That shouldn't even be a database column. So maybe I should remove the database column. I have on my other screen the production database. I guess I could share it. It's not like I'm sharing user details or anything. So I'm looking at the checklist item table, and it has the isComplete value, which I don't think that column should even exist. I think this is a, yeah. So there should be a, okay. I see the problem. There's no such thing as a user checklist item. That's the problem. There is a user checklist, so the user owns the whole checklist. But the checklist items are always generic. So we're not fixing the user checklist item, we are creating the user checklist item. Look at that. See, it's not a bug if it's an undeveloped feature, right? We're not fixing bugs, we're creating new features. Okay, so let's go into the DB and the schema file. And here we have the user checklist. Control CFV, enter, and we can see that one checklist has many checklist items and many user checklists. This is a bit of a strange relation. It might be fine, but I'm hesitating. Also, I don't know why there is a line break there, so I'll get rid of that. So given a check, it should be a two-way relation. If it's two-way relation, then it's fine. So given a checklist, I can find all the user checklists associated, and the reverse must also be true. Given a user checklist, I really, really, really need to know the origin checklist for that. So let's check that out if that is two-way. Okay, so given a user checklist, I have a direct reference to the origin checklist. So it's a two-way relation, which is totally fine. So that's just for convenience, like SQL traversal convenience, basically. Technically, the relation that is required is the user checklist to checklist relation. That's like really technically important. The other one is more just convenient. Can you use a Supabase relation for the user table and the checklist table? Basically, the answer is yes, but we want to do an indirect relation. We don't want a direct relation. We want this is called a through table or an intersection table. So you have the user, you have the checklist, and then you have a user checklist, which is an intersection table. And this is good because it allows decoupling. It's exactly what we want. It lets me as a user say, hey, my copy of the checklist is doing this other thing that the other users are not experiencing. And that's what we want. That creates isolation. The problem is that when I did this, I didn't propagate the through table to the checklist item level. So all these users have their isolated checklists that are using the same checklist items. But it's not a bug because I never created the feature. It's totally a bug, right? Okay, it's legitimately a bug. Is it worth it being a Java dev? I think so. I mean, I don't know that that's my favorite actually, it's not I'm sure that it's not my favorite programming language, but you could do a whole lot worse. Mariah, what is happening? Just joined. We're fixing our, you ever have like a to-do list? The bug is like you check off your item on the to-do list, and then everyone else that has the same item on their to-do list, it gets marked as done. So like that's bad, right? I just breathed some water. Oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Y'all, if you thought you have to be again. Is this your personal project or work related? This is a personal project. I would not be sharing my work code with you. This is open source. You can go check it out. I wouldn't be open sourcing my my employer's code. So Vanderveer laterally 3. Okay. So yeah, we got this checklist item in the user checklist, and I need to extend it. So here's the user checklist. A user checklist should not reference checklist items at all. A user checklist should be referenced by user checklist items. Okay, so here is the user. The user has a bunch of their own checklists. Great. And then they have a checklist ID. This is fine. This is fine. So how do they get a referenced items? There is no direct relation. They are going through the checklist to the generic checklist items, and that is exactly the problem. Okay, so I will mention this to GPT, and it will possibly be able to think through the problem quicker than I will. But I'm not going to just wait on it and let it solve it for me. I'm going to be thinking about it in parallel. Let me grab the whole schema. I'm going to be, well, no, it doesn't need the whole schema because like it doesn't need quiz items and stuff. So here we are with GPT. I'll do a new chat. GPT-4 with the code interpreter is totally goated. Role, we are expert TypeScript developers working on a blitz.js application that includes a checklist for each user. The user is able to complete items on the checklist. Context. There is an issue where a user marks their own checklist item as done, and all other users have their similar task marked as done, which is inappropriate. Task. Let's update the schema so that user checklist items exist and are isolated to the scope of a single user. instead of having all users update the is complete value of the checklist item. It is update the is complete value of the generic. Indeed, the generic checklist item probably shouldn't have an is complete field at all. Cool. Hold on, I had to go to use the bathroom. What's up, Pursuit of Happiness? Thanks for the follows, y'all. Salem Yosef, thanks for the follow. Karen, thanks for the follow. Mariah, assign each individual user, design a function to achieve this. These should be all contained in separate classes too. Yep, I pretty much agree. Pretty much agree. We need to work on the schema before we work on the function though. So we're doing the schema right now. But yeah, you're right. After we fix the schema, we're definitely going to have to update some functions. Is the GitHub repo public? Yes, it is. It's open source. So it's called Latterly-3. Here it is, Vanderveer/Latterly-3. And here's the public website. So you can go sign up now and get a checklist that will help you learn to code and land a programming role. So totally free and open source. Encourage y'all to come check out the project. I had on the last stream, someone submitted a pull request live. That was so lit. What is a schema? The schema defines the columns and tables and relations in the database. That's what the schema does. And because we are using Prisma ORM in TypeScript, after the database is set up, we also get our front end and back end type definitions for free with validators, which is awesome. That's like a ton, it's doing a ton of work for us. So it's really cool. The Book of Joel followed. What up, Joel? Book of Joel, thanks for being here. User 634 says, nice. I think so too. Thanks for being here, y'all, and good questions. Hey, quick reminder, if you go to YouTube, the link is in my bio, you'll be able to see the full screen. Okay, so what I need to do is clearly create a user checklist item. So here we have the user checklist. I'm going to look for the model keyword. Here's model user checklist. I'll throw it right after that just because alphabetical things are nice sometimes. Model user checklist item. Okay. User checklist is complete. I want to keep that. Is complete on the checklist item. I'm going to cut this. I'm cutting this field. This is maybe a bad idea. Let's see. I need to make it nullable first. So that I can delete it later. So we're gonna have to do a migration in addition to, like, we're gonna have to do a wrangling script. We're gonna have to do a wrangling script in addition to our schema change. So why is this thing mad? Each model must at least have one unique criteria. Yeah, we definitely want the created at and the updated at and the ID. So these things will also exist. Those are sort of the boilerplate. Really, this is all I think that I want. I think this is all that I want. What else do I want? A user checklist item should have a display index, right? Yes, but I don't want to read it directly. I want to read it indirectly. A user checklist item needs to have text and details and all of the things that are in the checklist item itself. I agree. But I don't want duplicate data that could fall out of sync. I want to use the checklist item. Cool. And so here we should add, oh, and let's see, do I want a uniqueness clause? So one user should have, yeah, given a user, they should only have one checklist item for that user. So we'll have a uniqueness clause. Maria says, then each item should have its own identifier. It will be attached to each user, added and deleted from DB. I think I agree with you. I think we're tracking really, really well. Sinane, I don't know if I said your name right. Thank you for being here. Are you using Blitz.js? The answer is yes. Tips for a first internship. Are you asking about how to get a first internship, or once you have it, how to like work the job sort of thing? Use tokenization. All right, we have some strong opinions in the chat. I am using tokenization for what it's worth. So like the session, this is like totally unrelated, right? The session tokenization is not related to what we're doing, but I have a hashed session token. So I'm not using JWT. I'm using database tokens for my session validation. Boop. There you go. JWT is fine though. I don't have a problem with JWT. Okay. So what I want to do is create a user like a checklist item relation here. So this should have a user ID, a checklist item ID. That's it. Int checklist item ID. That second I should be capitalized because of camels. Thanks to the camels. No, I meant transferring strings into numbers. Like why? Understanding your point. Transferring strings into numbers. Are you saying like the display text should not be stored as a string in the database? But I think you're on the right path. Oh, okay, cool. Rebecca, what up, what up? What language is this? So we are in a Prisma schema file. So this is a DSL, a domain-specific language. So the whole project is in TypeScript, but this is a specific modeling language for the database. Did you try to make Wi-Fi portals, sir? No, I'm not making a Wi-Fi portal. Oh, we got 98 people. What up? Let's see if we can get over 100. All right, cool. So here's the user ID, and then I want to bind a user based on the user ID. So let's grab a relation. So this is how we do that in Prisma. And checklist item ID, I'm going to do the same thing. It will have a checklist item, which is an object called checklist item. Okay. And then if I'm referring to an object, I need a relation. And my control S, I don't know if you noticed that, but when I have format on save, and the Prisma formatter created the relation for me, which is super nifty. What are you making? We are working on Latterly.io. Here's the website. You can check it out. You can sign up for free. Join the community. It would be great. Even after the stream, I can chat with y'all, because I'm only going to be here for another probably 30 minutes. Is this considered back-end development? Absolutely yes. Working on the model, the database model, is absolutely back-end development. Yes, it is. This also relates to like DBA things, database administrator things. So we're effectively altering the database when we do this. Yeah. Juiced looks nice, man. Thank you so much. I love the encouragement. It means a lot. Thank you. Let me not sleep on my Twitch chat. Okay, no one in the Twitch chat. All right, cool. Okay, so this looks good. Let's compare this to what ChatGPT came up with. I'm scratching my brain. Is that a saying? I was like, what am I talking about? It feels like it was too easy. But hey, let's not. Maybe it was easy. So let's not waste time, right? Based on your requirement, we should modify the database schema to create a new user checklist item, which will be a junction table. So I called it a through table or an intersection table. It is calling it a junction table. These are all correct. These are all synonymous. It's the same thing. I thought Bro was about to say, yo, greetings from France. Kali, thank you for being here. Jose, thanks for the follow. Sorry I sounded rude. No, I thought it was hilarious. Okay. So they made a checklist item, User check, so their checklist item is referring to the whole checklist. ID created at, updated at, user checklist ID. Do I have a user checklist ID on mine? No, I mean, that's a good idea to do that. So that there's a two-way reference not only on the checklist items and the user. Well, that would be a one-way reference, but then also on the user checklist. That totally makes sense. So let's do that. User checklist. User checklist ID is going to be an ordinary int, and then user checklist, which will be an object, is going to be a user checklist. Good. I think that's a good improvement. So, let me also make these alphabetical. It's not really alphabetical, is it? Because the ID is coming before the blank letter. This doesn't matter, y'all. I'm like splitting hairs, but I do like it to be in alphabetical order. Okay. It just makes me happy. Bro, friends don't let friends use Prisma. Smix, get out of here. Delete your account. Prisma is the GOAT. Your profile picture looks like a boring TV show. Cool. So this is an improvement. What about the user checklist? We got that. And then they have a uniqueness annotation, which I would like to steal right away. User checklist ID and checklist item ID. It feels like there needs to be a third argument, which is user. So user checklist ID, checklist item ID means that the combination of the checklist item ID should be unique within the user checklist. Oh, that's correct. Okay. I was in my brain, I was thinking checklist item ID and checklist ID. And it's like that would be the same as over here. No, yeah. That's unique on display text. Display text checklist ID. So this is unique within the user checklist ID. Good, looks good to me. And then the user checklist ID itself will already be unique. Because that's how we do. This is looking kind of like super duper. This is looking pretty nifty, if you will. What are you coding? We are coding laterally.io. So we are fixing the checklist. So right now, whenever I click these check mark buttons, it impacts all users. You can test this out. You can go sign up and like watch your checklist get goofed. Watch your checklist get put in a silly, goofy mood. Cool, so I think this is good. So I think we are ready to run the migration. So here I'm going to npm run migrate. Okay, my backup user script failed because the file doesn't exist. It should totally just create a new file. Why did it not create a new file? So the migrate command backs up users before it changes the database in case there's a database outage, I don't want to lose users, right? So what it's saying is that it could not write to this file. So it should totally just create it if it doesn't exist. I might need to just manually make the file That's probably what we're going to have to do. Before I migrate the DB with the new schema. Okay, before we do that, let's see if I'm aligned with GPT on the schema. Compare your schema change to mine. Does mine look fine? Or should I take yours more literally? If so, why? Use write file sync. Yeah, that might be the correct answer. That might be the correct answer. But that might also still error. I'm on a Windows machine right now. The code that just errored did not error on my M2. So there could be operating system level differences. Your model is also fine. It's a bit more direct. You're linking the user checklist item directly to a user checklist item and user checklist. Yep. However, there's a slight redundancy in my model. Oh, shots fired. GPT is coming after me. It tried to give me a positive sandwich. You're direct. That's a good thing, right? However, you suck. Michael Mosat, PhD, Econ, Programming Prodigy, what can't you do? Thank you so much. That's incredibly nice. There's slight redundancy in my model. Yeah, I think there is. So admittedly, it's for SQL traversal convenience. Does that make sense? So that when I'm writing my SQL script, I can directly go from my checklist item to a bunch of through tables that make me write join clauses. Your approach is quite similar, and there's no significant difference. The choice between them depends on your preference and whether or not you find it more intuitive to link directly. So yeah, basically it's saying that mine is fine, is what I'm hearing. It's saying, hey, it's slightly inefficient. And I'm like, yeah. What was a PhD in econ like? Have you ever been stabbed over and over for years? It's kind of like that. Austin, thank you for the follow. Cool, so this is looking good. And now that we are on the same page about the migration, I'm going to tell it about the other error that I saw. I am moving forward with my DB migration. Before I migrate the DB, I back up the user table. My user backup script had an error when I ran it on Windows 10. I need to get a new computer, y'all. Every time I have an error on Windows 10, I'm just like, you know what? Makes sense. Is this a GPT-4 model? No. This is not currently a GPT-4 model. In the future, there will be. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I got confused about what you're saying. I'm using ChatGPT version 4. Yes. My website does not have GPT-4 integrated yet. So those are two different things. But you were probably asking me about the chat right in front of us, right? Yeah, it's GPT-4 with the code compiler. Do you have a premium sub for ChatGPT? Yes, I do. Sergeant, is that Clerk? Sergeant Clerk? Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Okay. Nickelodeon. How should I address this? If I can't solve LeetCode hard in 15 minutes, should I reevaluate my life choices and become a barista? Firaz says yes. I would say no. That do be funny though. What's Prisma? Prisma is a TypeScript object relational mapper, an ORM. It allows me to just write programming code and interact with the database, and I don't need to write SQL. I don't need to care about the various SQL implementation differences. You can use the now operator in this dialect of SQL. It doesn't work in that other dialect of SQL. I just get to write code, and I get my types and code generation for free. Yeah, it's because it doesn't exist. Great, we knew that. And so how to resolve this? Windows doesn't allow certain characters and file names. Is it really pissed about the ISO date syntax? Yo, that's wild. Okay. Windows is mad because, oh, bro, Windows is mad because I threw a colon in my ISO date? Windows is always so silly and goofy. Chris Flannery, for free. Thanks for being here. Hey, y'all go follow Chris. Chris is a rock star, y'all. Okay, so what am I doing here? I'm staging this. Now I'm going to try to migrate my DB. A lot of database software are free. That be facts. That be real facts. Backup of 45 users completed. Okay, so the backup succeeded. Current schema is loaded. We've connected to Supabase, and now I'm naming the migration. So the name for the migration will be init user checklist item. I'm going to close others. We're going to create a backfill script so that I can null out the generic is complete values. Users, So here's scripts, one-offs, okay? Let's create a one-off script to update the database and null out. Do I want to null or not? Let's just try dropping it, because the problem is that I could null it out and then someone could click a button and it would no longer be nulled out. So let's just try and force drop it. Why do you use Windows instead of Mac or Linux? Well, I have a Mac, so the answer is that I use all the above. If you mean why am I using Linux, if you mean why am I using Windows today, it's just because like I wanted to sit at this desk. I don't know. Drop if null. No, I'm not going to do. That is a row-wise operation, which would delete all of the checklist items. That's not what I want to do. I want to drop the column, not the row. Okay, so yeah, I have a new. I can see on my other screen I have the database. So the migration went through. So this will be feet user checklist items are a thing. User checklist items are a thing. Now I'm going to try to force drop the column, and probably my database is going to get pissed off about this because this is like not really good practice. YOLO, my boy. I can make a one-off script if I need to. I would actually probably need to roll a maintenance window and freeze the DB, because literally if I run the one-off script and then if anyone in the world checks the button, I'll have to keep running the script over and over. Why did you choose stock trading over cryptocurrency? I don't know who you're talking to. Are you talking to me? I did not choose stock trading over cryptocurrency. Okay, what am I doing? I am trying to go back to the schema so that I can force drop the column. So here's the schema. Is complete on the user checklist item, we love to see it. Is complete on the checklist item, we hate to see it. N key, shift, home, home, backspace, backspace, control S. And let's try and migrate that one. Marez, thank you for the follow. Is that an emoji of a spider? That's kind of hard to see. Thanks for the follow, whoever that is. NKO, thank you for the follow. Quick reminder, y'all, if you go to YouTube, the link is in my bio, and you can see the full screen. Warning. Okay, so maybe it will let me. It just gives me a warning. You're about to drop the column. Are you sure you want to create and apply this migration? Burn it, Atom. Enter a name for the new migration. No generic checklist complete state. Oh, that checklist. Checklist complete state. And I should say checklist item. Cool. So it is now not possible. Actually, the checklist in prod is broken right now. So this is like only because my software is in an unstable alpha am I fine doing this. If you go to prod right now, here, let's do it. We're going to see an error. You ready? Hey. So this is down. So we need to fix this quickly. Like if I was in a commercial setting following best practices, I would have rolled a maintenance window to do this. Or I could have gone through I could have done like nuanced, careful scripting, and I'd have to go through peer review with like 5 different stages of scripts, which I don't want to do that either. So this is like the quick hacky approach, and I get to do that. Mariah says, sorry for being so intense earlier. No, dude. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry for saying dude. Anyway, we were loving that energy, so don't stress about it. Bring it back, if anything. What am I going to call this? This is going to be feet force drop generic complete call. It's a force drop, so there's a time and place for it, and I think now's the time and place. PK, thank you for the follow. All right, so we're pushing it. Let's set origin. We'll draw a pull request. Control V, enter, control click. That opens it up in my browser. And then here, I'm going to say, we can call it a fix. It's like kind of debatable whether it's a new feature or a bug fix because it was like an entity that didn't exist previously. Now when the homies click the checklist items, it only modifies their own checklist instead of goofing lists for all other users, which was pretty whack. Who hosts your website? We're hosted on Vercel. You see I got the GitHub action right here. Deployment. It's going to keep failing until I go fix the issue that I created. The issue that I created is that I dropped a column being used in the UI. Gregory, I mean advice for when you get your first internship, how to do well in it. Oh, okay. Over deliver. Under promise, over deliver. That's all you got to do. Also, like just be nice. Just be nice. That's an underrated skill. Just talk to people, give people compliments. People love compliments. Give people compliments, show your appreciation. If someone helps you out, I've seen, there's like a couple, I've worked with a lot of interns and some of my memories are good and some of them are less good. One of the best memories is if you help an intern and they're like, whoa, thank you so much. That was really helpful. I appreciate it. I learned so much from you. As a senior helping an intern, that makes me feel great. Here's what doesn't make me feel great. Like doesn't want my help. And then I help them and then they feel bad that they needed help. And they're like, oh man, I'm sorry. I won't bother you again. Like we're literally there to help you, dude. So make it positive. Genuine interest in what people are working on as well. Who's me? Am I people? We're working on ladderly.io. Link in my bio. Here's the website. It's open source. You can go learn to code, sign up. You can sign up for free. And then if you pay as little as $1 a month, there's the community bounty. This is really cool. You unlock features for if you pay $5 and someone else doesn't have any money, you can help them unlock features. Isn't that cool? So that's what we mean by the community bounty. And so, for example, no ads on the whole site if we hit a certain marker. Better site performance. The site will literally be faster is another one. And there's a bunch of stuff like that. Also, I do one-on-one consultations. It's usually like $100 an hour. But if you do as little as $1 a month, limited time only, you'll get a 30-minute session. Okay, cool. Back to this. I think we only got 10 minutes left, so make sure to follow the page for next time. We need to fix this bad boy up, and then we'll be done. Okay, so I ran the build, and here is where the build is failing. I'm highlighting Control-C, Control-Shift-F, Control-V, Enter. We're in VS Code, by the way, if y'all weren't sure what IDE I'm using. I can also just click this, which would be even faster than the search in all files operation that I did. Multi-tenant app, I don't need that comment. Okay, so the issue is that update a checklist item is trying to update the is complete column, and that column doesn't exist anymore. Cool. So what should be happening here is I should not be using update checklist item at all. I should be using update user checklist item. So first I want to confirm that this is only used in one place. So I'm searching in all files, update checklist item. If it's only used in one place, I'll update it in place. If it's used in several places, I will create a new one. Okay, so the basic checklist has the bug, the premium checklist has the bug. So 2 places is fine. What about this edit thing? This page should only be accessible by admins. And this page should be like, I want to change the text. Feel me? I want to change the text of the checklist item. It should not be changing the is complete status. So here we can just remove, okay, so we'll need to create a separate mutation basically. This one will remove is complete. Is complete. Yeah. So here we are going to remove is complete. What else is there to even do here? That would be the text. That would be the text. I probably should hide this page for now because y'all could possibly go screw with the checklist items if you want to. I need to throw an admin permission on here. Yeah, so here's how I can do a role enum admin. So it's not good enough that you're authenticated. You need to be an admin. And I will backlog a ticket, which is checklist item edit fix. So here we are on GitHub. New issue, and this is checklist item edit fix. Only admins should be able to edit the text of a generic checklist item. Update the form so that admins can do that. Probably formalize that admins exist in the schema file. What else? Also, the form should no longer pass is complete. And it should instead start passing the other fields we care about. Finally, create other tickets for similar thingies, where only admin should access the page and edit the thing, etc. Bro, hacker's going to be messing around. Yeah, they have about 20 minutes. Let them at it. Someone go call, who we got? Senior Ho. That's a real guy. You know this guy? So if you want to meet a hacker, you can check out Senior Ho. He named himself. I didn't name him that. That's how hackers are, yo. He's the founder of Alsec. He only follows 54 people, including me. Yeah, someone send him a direct message and tell him that he has 30 minutes. He can hack me if he makes it in time. Because legit, he can. It's like, he legit could. If you get a hold of him, and if he does it in the next 30 minutes, he legit could. Okay. Cannot find role enum. Okay, so we need to formalize the role right now. Control P, DB Prisma. Ah, that's the wrong project. I always get more anxious when I'm having to race a hacker. That's a bummer, dude. Control Shift F, Control V. It's going to find in my other projects. I'm going to steal the enum out of a different project. Control click. Admin basic user. A left. Control V, Control S. We'll default the basic user role. So the hashed password, drop it right there. That looks good to me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Let's throw it down. Ah, we already got role. We already got role, and it's a string. Yeah, that's fine. I can change it to an enum. That's fine. So instead of basic user, it's user. That's a little more respectful, right? I'm not saying you're a basic user. I'm just saying you're a user. So we'll change the default to be this way. And then this is admin and user are the two roles currently. That's all we need right now. Cool. So we have this. I'm going to migrate that again. How do you start contributing to a large open source project? Just go create an issue. Well, so one of the things that I recommend is that you start using the project. The role column in the user table would be dropped and recreated. This will lead to data loss. Ooh. It's going to force recreate all users as users. That's okay. There's not a lot of admins. I can just fix those by hand. That's fine. Let's do it. Formalize role enum with admin. Thank you for the follows. Yeah, so if you want to contribute to a large open source project, the way I recommend you do it is you start using the project and then you run into an issue organically and then you file an issue on their repository and it's organic, right? It's not like you're doing something that's just kind of dunking like, ooh, I did a one line of code change because I was reading line by line and I found something that could be rephrased or optimized. You can do that too. It's like not as helpful as if you're actually improving the end user experience, which is going to be more valued by the maintainers, and that's going to get you prioritized for merge, right? So use it as a user is one. You're building user empathy, customer empathy, and you're contributing to prioritized valuable features. Another way to do it is docs. So same way, organic docs, and you're like, man, there's a feature that's undocumented, or there's like a incorrect documentation. Definitely fix that. If there's an error, that's definitely going to get prioritized for sure. So those would be some of the ways that I'd recommend it. And hop on their Discord and talk to them. Talk to the people. Discord-driven development. Like Blitz.js. I've contributed to Blitz. I've contributed to Angular. I've contributed to Blitz.js. I'm out here on the Blitz.js. I'm on the Next.js Discord. I'm on the Blitz.js Discord. And I'm on the Latterly Discord. You can sign up and come say hi after the stream. So that would be some of my thoughts. Okay, so let's come over here. Let me look on my... Oh no, I'm not an admin anymore. Let me fix that really quick. Oh, actually, before I fix it, we can validate that I cannot access the edit page. This will be a good test. So I'm going to try to access this page with my... I need to generate the type. npm run, sorry, Blitz Prisma generate. Wow, this is lame. Thanks, really. Gilgamesh, do you ever use UseEffect? Would you recommend not using it at all? I do sometimes use it, and I do think that sometimes there is a good place for it. So no, I'm not on the train of never use it at all. That being said, I think it's very frequently abused. Like I'm empathetic and I'm sympathetic when tech leads say, hey, in our repo, you're not going to use it at all. Because the reason they do that is because it's abused so often that it basically becomes like a code smell. Did you mean import? Bro, where's the role? Okay, this is just a type error in Prisma because it doesn't know that I just regenerated. So role enum is now a thing. So you are happy now, right? Cool. Did that make sense, my answer to the question? Like, I'm empathetic when people say never use it, but I'm going to use it because I know when to use it. What are you building and what's Prisma? We're building Latterly.io. Link is in the bio. It's a platform that helps people learn to code, but it's down right now, so I'm trying to fix it. And what's Prisma? It is a TypeScript object relational mapper in ORM. Quick reminder, y'all, if you go to YouTube, you can see the full screen. Is my dev server running? Nope. So let's npm run dev. It might bust on this. We'll see. Yeah, because this should go. Checklist item schema. So these are dropping off the validator object. Good, good. Are you using Vite as well? I think so. Here, let's double check my package file. Yeah, we're building with Vite. This is Next.js. Is complete. Here we are in my basic checklist. So we don't want update checklist item mutation. We want update user checklist item mutation. That doesn't exist. We will just create it. Update checklist item, update user checklist item. Okay. Right click, close others, control click this. Here we are under the checklist items. I am making a new folder. Folder. This is user checklist items. Subfolder mutation, subfolder. Subfile, update user checklist items. No, item, singular, .ts. Cool. We can copy over this referent and then just change it. Oh, we also need a schema folder. Yep. Up one level over to the schemas. Okay. Schemas is a file, not a folder. New file, schemas.ts. So we control click here, it's empty. We want to export update user checklist item schema. And we're just cloning reference. Does that make sense? So here I want the edit or the update. We'll import the Zod package. Question mark JavaScript. It's TypeScript, but it's pretty close, isn't it? What database are you using? Postgres, specifically Supabase. Shout out to Supabase. We love to see it. Update user checklist item schema. Okay. So now I am validating that the update user checklist item mutation passes only the ID, but I also want the is complete. This is where the is complete goes. That's going to be a z.boolean because it's a Boolean field. Let's see, the data flows through. It's mad because this is still saying checklist item. And so let's put a smile on that robot's face, eh? And now we're happy. And that is how you get along with AI, people. How long it takes to learn. I've been coding for like 10 years, but you don't need to be coding that long. You can learn React or like, I don't know about you specifically, but most people that are interested in learning how to program can learn React in under a year. In fact, indeed, they can learn React and land a job in under a year. Now, learning Next.js and learning Blitz.js is more than learning React. And this one's also using Tailwind, so there's a few additional skills there. But yeah, I would say you could get I don't know about the average person, but I think like a pretty smart person could get this good with this stack in a couple years, and maybe a little bit longer for for the average. Okay, so update checklist item. We don't want that anymore. We want update user checklist item. Oh no, it doesn't exist. Let's hover and quick fix. VS Code detected the new mutation that I created. And all of the red dots are not red dots anymore. Item is complete. So this is still a checklist item. So this is the query. So we fixed the, we fixed the mutation, which is the update operation, but the query operation still feels bad. This is the checklist item list. So here we go. We want to make this a user checklist item list. Man, it's just boilerplate changes we have to do right now. This stinks. Yeah, the user checklist should not have, this is not what we should do. We should get, I think I can leave that alone. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize the changes here. So we want this to be a user checklist item. VS Code is slowly checking for quick fixes. Cool. So now that it found the type. Okay, so this is the user checklist item. And now it's mad about the display text. Yep. So the item has a checklist item here. Checklist item ID. Where's the checklist item object? It's not on there. So I need to include that. This is getting messier, isn't it? Okay, so I got to fix it later. That's it. Yeah, so the hackers are going to be able to mess up the checklist items for a while because this is going to take longer to fix. Let's make sure that I can still get to the root of the site. No. Error converting field role, incompatible value user. Okay, so I want to fix the main site, and we can do the checklists later. Staging some of this stuff. Cool. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you later. I am going to fix this later, basically.